Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to Why Are We Like This, a Heartstopper podcast. I'm Ashley, she, her.
And I'm Alyssa, she, they. And today we are back again to talk about Season 2, Episode 8, Perfect.
Thanks for coming and have a good day. We'll see y'all next time.
Yep.
There's so much to unpack.
So Season 2, Episode 8, Perfect, was written by Alice Oseman and directed by A. Roslin, and this is the one where the gang comes together for a memorable prom with a fitting theme, Summer of Love. But with someone important missing, it feels incomplete. And I just think that is so underselling this episode. So much happens in this episode. It's, I think, in terms of like the full episode including credits, it's the longest of the entire series. I think it comes in at like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Obviously, like 6 minutes of that is credits, but
beautiful credits.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to get into. I do have some notes before we get started.
Yeah.
We did not, in the last episode, talk enough about Joe Locke's acting. And Franzi on Discord made a very loud point that we have to go back and talk about that because hashtag give Joe Locke an Emmy. We will get into the acting in this episode, but I think we usually do a pretty good job of like bringing it up as we go. But last episode was like a lot of emotions.
Last episode was a lot.
Yeah.
This episode is also a lot. So I apologize in advance for anything we forget to talk about because of emotional compromisedness.
But also we love y'all and keep telling us what we missed because
yes,
I always want to come back and talk about it. The scene with Ben in particular.
Yeah.
He absolutely kills. So good. Something else that we missed, I just like didn't pick up on it, but then Susan on Twitter said the leaves that we see Isaac get at the art exhibit are green and purple. And I just didn't even pay attention. So that's purple for Arrow and green for Ace. So shout out to Susan. Hashtag adopt our crew. Hashtag save our flag means death. Can't believe they canceled that show. It was so good.
I never watched the second season.
You really should.
I just never got around to it.
It's devastating that they've canceled it. So, join the campaign if you're listening. Okay, also, there's this tweet that I found that's going to make everybody upset, but I just wanted to read it. The first tweet from spring_in_winter says the beginning of episode 8 starting with, and this is season 1, the beginning of episode 8 starting with, maybe I do just ruin people's lives, and ending with, my life is way better because I met you. And then Love Liking Nick with 2 Ks quoted it and said, and the beginning of season 2 episode 8 starting with, this is the most perfect my life has ever been, and ending with, you don't have to be perfect with me. And
I have some perfection. I have some notes about some of the perfect idea.
Same.
I have a lot of notes. I have notes about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last thing I have is that I've been leaving myself voice notes for like a long time to talk about certain things in certain episodes. And this one is from January 17th. I have no idea where it came from or where I read this theory, but I left myself a voice note saying, talk about the theory that Imogen is Demi. And I think I can remember the context of the discussion, but I don't remember where I saw it or heard of it, but like the fact that every crush she has is like someone she's known for a long time that she trusts. So it's just an interesting theory that I'm gonna keep an eye out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's all of my before the episode notes.
All right. Well, my first note of the episode is this episode starting with colors of you is a personal attack, and I don't like it. And like I do like it. I do like it, but like it's just like, why do you have to do this to me? We start firing on all cylinders, and like I'm already compromised, and we haven't even like the screen is still black.
Yeah, the first note on my page says Colors of You is playing, melts into the floor.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about season 2 and like prom and like all of these things, I was like, they have to dance to Colors of You at prom, and if they use Colors of You in any other way, I'm going to be mad about it. And then this episode started with it, and I was like live tweeting, and I was like, okay, so we're going to start the episode out, so you made it all the way to prom, then you're not going to let them dance, you know? And then as the scene progresses, I was like, oh my God. You know, I'm like, this is the only way that they could use the song. This is perfect.
It's perfect.
Yes. So we get Nick waking up, and he rolls over, and immediately looks up at his pictures of Charlie and like gets a little smile. And so he rolls over and grabs his phone.
Well, before we even get there, I'm already crying just thinking ahead to like season 4 when we're going to have like the events of Nick and Charlie. And how many more pictures are going to be up there?
Yeah.
And, like, that got me. I was like, I am not ready.
You're killing me.
I think it's only fair, given the times that you've destroyed and killed me.
Okay, that's fair.
Revenge.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he picks up his phone and just goes for it. He opens Instagram and he picks a picture of him and Charlie like wrestling on the bed in Paris.
I really want to know who took that picture.
I feel like Isaac.
Yeah, because Tao would not.
Yeah, not in bed.
Yeah.
I just don't see Mom Tao doing that.
No.
So yeah, he puts it up on Instagram. He puts the caption boyfriends with a heart, and then in parentheses, I'm bi actually.
I loved.
Yeah, she's in so big, and you can like feel the energy like radiating off of him. He's like got the anxiousness there for sure, but like excited and proud is like beaming off of him.
Yeah.
And the music, it's perfect. It's done so well. Charlie comes running out and hugs him, and he like picks him up and spins him around. And the fact that their outfits, they're like wearing each other's flags.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
Yeah. I would like to share what I wrote for this scene. Cut outside Charlie's house, and the music cue going into the chorus is perfect as Charlie runs out the door and into Nick's arms. Send hope, code blue, rest in peace me, R.I.P. me, I died dead.
Yep.
Nick spins him around and hugs him tight, and Charlie says, "You are the best, and I simply cannot go on."
I love this scene, and I have been dabbling with like fan videos and stuff, like for this in the Discord and stuff. And this is like one that I use a lot. This like run out hug spin.
It's a very good run out hug spin.
Yes.
That's the technical term for it.
Yes, run out hug spin. Charlie asks, have you seen the comments? And so then it cuts to them in bed. And this is where like a lot of my notes kick in, because
and this is where I wrote, Ashley has informed me that she already wrote down every single one of these comments, so I am not going to do that. Yeah. And I gesture fondly, take it away, Ashley.
Thank you. I took my like recording of the episode and went frame by frame to slow it down and make sure that I caught all of it. First of all, I still want to know who Mustache Wannabe is. Like, are they ever going to give us that person's identity?
Maybe it's Michael.
Oh, maybe.
I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah. Imagine it's been him the whole time.
That's not based in any kind of textual evidence or anything. I just, you said it and I was like, character we haven't met yet.
Right. So they commented and said, OMG, congrats. There's just like a bunch of back and forth, right? There's half positive, half negative. Something that I had never caught before because it's at the top when Charlie's like scrolling through them is that Ben commented and he put okay and ... question mark.
Fuck right the fuck off, Ben Hope.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
And I thought that this episode was going to be blissfully Ben free.
Yep. But it's there.
Fuck you, Ben.
So, yeah. Tea dispenser commented twice. The first time they said, Nick Nelson is gay? No way. And then several more comments down. They're like, when did you two get together? Question mark. There is, I'm not going to read everybody's usernames, but this is wonderful. LOL, sorry girls. No way. Oh, this is so sweet. OMG, I had no idea. I hope you're taking him to prom. So happy for you. So much love for you. Why are there so many? This is, okay, x.katielee.x is the real one because they commented, why are there so many comments saying he's gay when he literally stated that he's bisexual? Thank you, Katie Lee.
That's one that I've clocked. Because that's once it's like one that they kind of like
pause on
there for a second. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is this a joke? You guys look really cute. Mate, pick a side.
Fuck you.
Uh-huh. I had no idea you were gay. LOL, we played a rugby match against this guy last year. We have our faves. Imogen commented, Nick, heart, heart, heart. Sahar said, love you too. Darcy left 3 hearts. Isaac said, this photo is adorable, heart. So that's another reason I was like, Isaac probably did this photo.
Yeah.
Tara said, so happy for you guys with a heart. It like cuts up to Nick like looking over Charlie's shoulder while he continues. And we see, this is so shocking. I'm guessing you're taking him to prom. You'd literally never guess that this guy was gay. He's the guy who got bullied badly. This one's one of my favorites because it's not even like a complete question. It just says, rugby captain is gay? I bet they'll be dancing together at prom tonight. And Christian commented, happy for you, exclamation mark.
Oh, Christian.
So those are all the comments. I love Christian and like what a bumbling idiot he is later
Christian
in this
really
episode.
Shines at prom.
Yeah.
I really love that scene. I'm excited to get there.
Yeah. So Nick says, I guess we knew that this would happen. And Charlie's like, are we going to get mobbed at prom tonight? Nick says there might be some stairs. And then he asks, are you sure you really want to go? And you could tell that Nick is like getting really anxious about specifically how this is going to affect Charlie. Mm-hmm. Like we didn't get the line of him saying that he didn't think he could handle them coming out as a couple right now, like he says in the comics. Yeah. But we didn't need that combo because Joe Locke has been giving us all these little nonverbal moments throughout the season that shows that the attention is going to have a greater effect on him. But it's like really weighing on Nick, and they're trying so hard to protect each other. Mm-hmm.
This is where Charlie says, this is the best my life has ever been. I don't have to hide my amazing boyfriend anymore. I'm not getting bullied. Everything's perfect. And then I said, me crying in volume 4. He says, so we're going to go to prom and we're going to be the cutest couple there and everyone will see. And I ended up making this note later on, like at the end when Nick is talking about like, you don't have to be perfect in front of me. But like, I'm just going to scroll down there and say what I was going to say then because I want to say it now. So it hits me because there was definitely a point in my life where I was like, if X, Y, and Z happened, everything would be perfect and everything would be okay and I would be okay. And that is a time that I look back on now and I'm like, oh, I was not okay. Like those things had like fallen into place and I was like, this is perfect. Everything's great. I was not okay. Nothing was perfect. And it just like hits me very much that Charlie is in this like very similar place of like, everything's perfect when we know that it's not. And I'm like, are you just trying to tell yourself that it's perfect because you feel like it should be? It just gets me a little bit. And I've been feeling that way since, because I think that line or part of that line was in the trailer, if I remember correctly. And I remember being like, oh, Charlie, my sweet boy.
Yeah. So it took me back to Out the
Yeah.
end monologue. So I wrote that down again, where it says, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Nick doesn't have to deal with what I did. I can protect him. I can make sure that he never feels pressured or stressed or scared. Everything's going to be perfect. And this season, we have seen Nick pressure himself, be extremely stressed on multiple occasions, and show signs of fear. We hear him admit that it's been scary at the end of this episode. Like, they get there in the end, but there's no way to protect, quote unquote, protect someone from feeling these things.
Yeah.
They're just a part of life. And I also don't think that perfect exists in terms of your life.
Yeah.
Like, life just isn't perfect. There's always going to be obstacles and ups and downs and complications, and striving for perfection is going to do no good.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to see this continue to unravel in season 3.
Definitely. And that's kind of like, I feel like this idea of perfect is such like a teenage thing to begin with. And when you like put mental illness on top of it, like you feel like everything should be perfect. And why isn't it perfect, and what's wrong with me? And I feel like it takes a lot of like processing and maturity to come to a place where you're like, oh no, nothing is ever going to be perfect, and that is okay. I say that as someone who is a perfectionist and still has to remind myself this all the time.
Same. Same. But here we are at the final title card of season 2. And this one is a sleigh.
I love this.
It's so bisexual.
It's also, have you seen or heard of the musical The Prom?
Yes. I have not seen it, but I know what it is.
The movie sucked. Don't waste your time. But
Okay.
I had the opportunity. I saw it on Broadway.
Nice.
Just this title card gave me vibes of that show.
Okay.
And like the playbill for that show, and like the marquee and all of that stuff with the purple curtains and like the neon lights.
Yeah, okay, I can see it.
Which I thought was fitting because this episode is the prom episode.
Right. Yeah.
And just really quickly, that musical deals with there's a lesbian, a girl who's a lesbian in high school in Indiana, and she like petitioned the school board to allow her to bring her girlfriend to the prom. And all of the like backlash, the school board ends up like trying to cancel the prom. And then these kind of washed up, this is where it gets a little weird, but these kind of washed up like theater actors from New York, they're trying to be like relevant and like do something that's going to get them into the spotlight. And so they read this news story and they decide that they're going to go to this Indiana town and try and like be, you know, advocates for the main character whose name is escaping me at the moment. And it's silly, and it's not like the best thing I've ever seen, but it was a fun time, and like some of the songs really hit me, and it was really beautiful. But yeah, so like that's kind of the plot, and so I feel like that comes into play with a lot of the things that are going on in this episode as well, with Darcy and with Nick and Charlie, and yeah.
I was just like, wow, it's so bisexual and pretty.
Yeah.
I love the like the title perfect being like a neon sign.
The like Heartstopper is also like neon-y.
Yeah.
It's just harder to notice. Like it's
more like backlit.
Yeah.
Like neon backlit. And the shape of the letter's perfect. It looks like
like a
neon sign. Yeah. Yeah, it might be my favorite of all of them. I don't know. I'll have to look. I have to go. Don't hold me to that. I have to go look at all of them at once. But it
Boyfriend, I think, is still my fave.
Okay.
But I love like the beach and like ocean-y shit. Yeah. So it's just kind of very me coded.
For sure. So then we cut to Tao hanging out in Elle's room. I love that she's just like fixing her hair and like primping, and like,
I love the mirror that she's got. It's like a little flowery type thing. I love it.
Her room is
great.
I love it. They all have good rooms, but Elle and Tara have like my two favorite rooms. And Tao's looking at Instagram and he sees Nick's post and he says, I think Nick just came out on Instagram. And I love Elle's just like, oh, good for him. Also, she looks stunning.
Yeah.
I love this outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and her hair looks great. Tao picks up the Lambert flyer or brochure, and I saw you asked about college. I did not get a chance to go back and read it. So
Okay. Yeah. So it said pre-degree, because it says pre-degree and college prospectus guide. And I was like, okay. And I had just finished reading Loveless, which has like one very specific it has one very specific definition of college. And I've also heard it used this way before. And so I was like, I need someone to explain this to me. Because I don't know if I'm wrong or what the fuck, but I'm confused. And so Kate on Discord was very nice and helpful and basically said that it means multiple things and is kind of like a weird and nebulous term for anything having to do with like educational institutions. I forgot to screenshot the like full message in response to my question, and I can't like scroll back, but basically because what I had thought before ever reading Loveless, before like anything, was that college was a different word for like years 12 and 13 when you're doing your A levels. But then in Loveless, college it's like a house system where it's like it's where you live, and like there's certain things that are associated with that within your university. And so I was like, wait, now hang on one second. And apparently it can be both things, and there are also other meanings. I just. But now I understand that it just means several different things. And it's context dependent. So yeah, so in this it's, you know, it's a pre-degree program. It's the A levels program. So that's why it's being used there.
I have a note about the music before we get into what Tal's about to do. I have a couple of notes like this throughout, just about lyrics and how they fall. So the song that's playing right now is Run Away With Me by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're hearing is, tonight when everyone is sleeping, let's run away. I'll run away with you. And then he, like, as he's looking at the flyer, knowing that she's going to be leaving, and it just, the music supervisor, fight me. And then he blurts out, do you want to be my girlfriend?
I love the way that Elle, like, whips around.
Yes, like, she whips around so aggressively.
I am concerned for Yasmin Finney. Like, how many times did they have to do that? And was she okay afterwards? Because, like, that seems dizzying, and, like, you might get whiplash if you had to do that too many times. So Yaz, just let us know. Were you okay?
Yeah, how's your spine doing?
Fine. But yeah, so my note here is Elle whips around and says, was that a serious question? As if these two motherfuckers haven't been in love forever.
Yeah. She's like, was that a serious question? And then he's like, yes. And then he starts to like backtrack. He's like, do you not want to? And she's like, yes, I want to be your girlfriend. Basically, like, are you an idiot? Of course I want to be your girlfriend. He's like, why are you being weird? And she's like, I'm not being weird. You're being weird. And then they start kissing, and the music kicks back up. And then we hear, baby, take me to the feeling, I'll be your sinner in secret. And it cuts to Tara.
Yeah. This scene with Tara before she calls in reinforcements has major group project, but you're the only one taking it serious energy. Except it's prom.
Yep.
She looks like she's gonna throw up. She's so stressed out. And I'm like, I have been there. I am currently there. I will likely be there again soon in the future.
Yep. And Corey kills, like, her facial expressions during this scene.
Corey kills a lot in this episode. And it's a lot of, like, very subtle stuff.
Yes.
Especially because on top of the stress of prom, the prom setup being kind of a hot mess, Darcy's MIA. And Tara's been messaging her since 8:10, and it's now 11:18. And nothing. And then I said, Sahar comes over to ask where Darcy is, and Tara says she probably slept in, and I cry in dramatic irony.
Yep. Also, but before she walks over, I think it's funny that we hear Sahar like talking to a group of people, and she's like, guys, I told you we are not dressing up. And I'm like, what kind of costumes are they trying to wrangle Sahar into for this performance? So yeah, the time I'm going to bring up the time again later because I have some questions about the timing. Like you said, it's currently 11:18 a.m. and she's been messaging Darcy since 8:10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sahar comes up and says Imogen said that she hasn't gotten any of the food yet, but she's definitely going to Asda in a couple of hours, which I looked up and is owned by Walmart.
Huh.
So
I'd heard of Asda. I was like, yeah, it's like a grocery store. Yeah, cool.
I knew what it was, but I was like, I wonder if it's associated with any larger companies or any American companies. And so I looked it up, and it's a Walmart business. So Tara says, do you trust her with that? And Sahar says, not at all. Reinforcing my I can't stand her, I want to kiss her so bad theory.
Yep. I didn't write that, but I was definitely thinking, I was like, this is very much, do I want to punch her in the face or do I want to kiss her in the face?
Yes.
And then I said, Tara, I know you're texting the gang now, but why haven't you already roped them into helping? That is one of the main powers of being the mom friend. Yeah. I got my gang to help me unpack my kitchen, and the only thing I had to do was buy them pizza. So, like, Tara, come on.
Yeah.
You're slacking. Yeah. Like, I love you, but you're slacking.
I'm also just surprised that they didn't offer to help. They seem like a very tight-knit group that would. Mm-hmm. But I guess if she had that many people showing up, she probably told them, like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll have plenty of hands.
Yeah.
But then it's just pure fucking chaos.
Mm-hmm. I love this 4-way split screen of everyone. Because we've got, like, Tara, like, texting and, like, trying to do the setup. Tao and Elle, who like fully stopped making out to read this message, which I'm like,
I thought about that too. But so the way we see them opening it, like we see Elle stop and look at her phone, but then we see everybody else sending their messages while she's still looking. So my theory is that it was blowing up. And that's why she stopped to look.
It's just weird the like order that they showed everyone in. I feel like they should have showed Tao and Elle last.
I agree.
To communicate this because it was a little bit weird. But Isaac has his book, is reading, and he's also surrounded by books. And he's reading Summerbird Blue by Akemi Dawn Bowman, which is the book that he's got there. Nick and Charlie are in bed, and Charlie's playing Switch, and Nick's just kind of looking at his phone, and he goes like, Charlie. And they all say that they're coming, but Tao and Elle do go back to kissing first.
Yep. Gotta wrap things up here first.
Gotta wrap it up! And then Tara adds a message saying, like, Darcy, if you see this, text me back. And I'm just like, so sad.
I know. And then we cut to the Gay Avengers Assemble!
Oh my god. So I love it. Like, number one, the stained glass has some like major She-Ra vibes. I don't know why. I think it's like the like art and the colors kind of reminded me of She-Ra. But then they walk in like they're the cast of a goddamn heist film. And I was like, Jones is 6? I'd watch it. So if anyone wants to make that movie, you would have at least one person who would go and see it. And I'm sure there'd be more. But just like the way that they're walking, I was like, yeah, this is like the like scene. I can hear Tara narrating like she's Danny Ocean. Here's the plan. Like, and I also love that Isaac is reading his book while he's walking.
While walking, yeah.
And I just was like, can I adopt Isaac, please?
So they walk into the chaos and everybody stops. And Elle's just like, oh my God. And Tara comes running up and she says, guys, I'm having a breakdown. And this scene is something that I think about a lot. As someone who feels this way, it plays in my head a lot. I've recently requested it as a GIF in our Discord so that I can just have it to use it.
Yes. Y'all might have seen this on Instagram because I made Ashley share it, but I in looking at this space, it's a space we haven't seen before. And I'm like, what is this normally? An auditorium, a gym, a combination gym auditorium? Why was this space not used in Girls for the band concert? Because there is an actual stage here. Why were we here? And why are we not here? And why are we at the Truum gym instead? It bothered me.
So later when Nick and Tao are sitting down, we see the like wall with the like pencils drawn on it.
Uh-huh.
And I think we have seen that wall before, but I can't remember.
Huh.
It is. Oh, so it's the same room that they do parent-teacher conferences in and family.
Huh.
Because I'm looking at it right now and there's the pencils on the wall.
Okay. So this is at Truum, and they use the fucking gym instead. I'm even more mad than I thought now. Like, I was like, well, maybe this is Higgs, but then also at the end, it's like the Truum courtyard, and I was like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Who knows what the issue was with the concert, but this would have been a better space to do that in.
Better space, yeah. So then we get this, like, prom setup montage.
Oh, wait. Mm-hmm. When Tara runs up and says, guys, I'm having a breakdown, and then it gives us the cut back to the group, the face that Isaac makes has me full on cackling every single time because he's like behind his book and he just gives her like a
yeah,
this is not looking good.
No, it's not. And it does. It seriously looks like a sparkly tornado went through this event space.
Yes, now we get the prom like decorating montage. Mm-hmm. Nick cracks me the fuck up. He is literally like so proud of himself for that little joke.
Dad energy. Yeah. Which like makes sense. Tara's the mom friend, he's the dad friend.
Yeah, for sure.
And then like Tao and Elle are painting. Elle is telling Tao to let her fix something, but I'm not sure what there is to fix. They don't even have a full layer of paint yet.
It's because he's painting in circles. Why? What is he doing? My note is, Tao, be serious. Just for 1 second.
Tao can't be serious. What the fuck are you talking about?
I also put, like, they're painting this wooden shape, and then later I was like, oh, it's clouds, but you can't really tell at that point.
Can't. No, I don't. Yeah, it's weird. And then Tao, like, jokingly, like, paints down her side, gets her arm, and then gets it on her shirt. And then they have a paint fight. And I'm like, y'all, I do not think that paint is going to wash off.
No. Mine's like, he paints on her clothes in all caps. Her clothes! Yep. This is such a cute-ass outfit. I would be so mad.
Yeah.
And then before she even dips her paintbrush again, he's saying, that's not fair, that's not fair. Like, she hasn't even done anything. And then she, like, paints on his neck.
Yeah.
Then we get this, like, very quick shot of Sahar and Isaac putting balloons up. And, like, I just want more Isaac-Sahar interactions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we get Tara on Nick's shoulders. And I love it so much.
Yes. Do you know what it makes me think of every single time, though?
What?
You're going to hate this.
Oh, God.
It makes me think of Riley putting up the, like, lesbian club sign. Buffy. Like, every single time I see it, that's what I think of.
No. Now you've taken this thing that I think is so sweet and pure and precious, and you've spoiled it.
I'm sorry. I can't help the way my brain works.
So then after that, we cut to Coach Singh and Mr. Ajayi, who are doing a very bad job of supervising.
Yeah. My question is, have they been here the whole time? And why are they not helping organize it better? Or are they just like, my job is to supervise. I am supervising. Yeah.
I love the idea of Mr. Ajayi coming back from Paris and telling Coach Singh all about what happened with Farouk.
Yes.
Which then prompted me to think about, so a few seasons ago, Grey's Anatomy did a web series called The B Team that featured that season's intern class doing stuff like that we didn't see in the like episode proper of like of the show. And I want something similar, but just the teachers.
Yeah.
I'm like, obviously, Coach Singh and Mr. Ajayi and Mr. Farouk would be like the main characters. I'm like, you'd have like Mr. Lang as a side character, but you know, the other teachers could be there too.
Yeah.
And I just want to see more of them and their friendship and like all the things that are happening with the teachers behind the scenes.
Yep.
And this whole time, Coach Singh is trying to convince Mr. Ajayi to invite Mr. Farouk to the prom.
Yeah.
And it's like, just tell them they need more chaperones.
I have a very similar note. When he finally is like, okay, fine, and starts to text, and she's like trying to see, and he's like, no, and like moves away, and she like stops for a second, and then she's like, just a peek, I'll just have just a little look-see. And I'm like, this is where my headcanon came from, this scene that she's been like slowly trying to like push them together. And I need some scenes of these two outside of school. Like, I want to see Friday night, margarita night, tell me all about Paris, and I want like Mr. Ajayi being like, and we haven't spoken since. Yeah. What do I do? I put give me that spinoff. The Teachers of Heartstopper just being like, ugh, these kids are nauseatingly in love. Let's go shoot some whiskey to deal with what we have to deal with all the time.
That's hilarious. I'm also imagining Coach Singh like going home and telling her wife all of this, and like the wife like quietly cheering and being like, then we can have a date night. Yeah. Like, yes, double date. Yeah.
So Charlie's like up on a ladder grabbing balloons, and he looks over at a group of kids that are like obviously talking about them, and you hear them like saying, are they actually dating? Apparently. Go ask. You go ask. Like,
yeah.
And then two of them come over, and one of them's like, is it true you guys are going out? And Charlie looks down between the two of them, and then Nick is like, yeah. And the other one says, I didn't know you were gay, Nick. And we get him once again having to explain the fact that he's not gay. He says, well, I'm bi, actually, but yeah. And then the first one that spoke was like, I think you guys look so cute together. I told you. And then they walk away. I'm like, kids, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Have these discussions away from them.
I have so many thoughts. And I'm like, number one, what the fuck are all you children supposed to be doing right now? Because clearly there is a lot that needs to be done, and you do not appear to be helping. Number two, this would be the perfect time for Coach Singh to just kind of blow her whistle and be like, all right, get back to work. And then also, like, seriously, just fuck this. Don't do this. Like, queer couple, straight couple, anyone. Just don't do this. It's weird and it's shitty. Just don't.
Yeah. So Nick looks up and asks, do you want to stop and get something to eat? We can walk to the shop. Charlie smiles and says, I'll eat later. I had a really late breakfast. And here's where I have my questions about the time. Because when Nick wakes up and opens Instagram at the top of the episode, it's 10:04 a.m. And then when he's at Charlie's and they're looking at comments, some of them are as old as 2 hours ago. So it has to be at least 12. But later when Tara texts them for help, it's 11:18.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know what time it is right now during this scene. But if Nick was at his house shortly after posting that at 10, then he knows that he didn't have a late breakfast. And you can like see that in his face.
And I'm also like, I feel like what Nick is really trying to do is just like suggest that they like go elsewhere to get a break from everyone. And I'm like, Nick, you know, food is a touchy subject. You couldn't come up with any other reason to like leave. Because like clearly what it is he wants like a reprieve from like the stares and the comments. Yeah. And I'm just like, you want to go for a walk? I
mean, maybe it was a 2-for-1er though, because he does know.
Maybe.
Especially if he's been with Charlie all morning and now it's at, noonish or later and they haven't had any food. He could just be trying to gently nudge as well.
Yeah.
So Charlie says, you can though. And like goes back to working basically. And then we cut over to Tao covered in paint eating chips. Nick walks over and Tao like kind of freezes for a second when he sees him coming over. And then he's like, oh wait, we're cool now. I forgot. So he like chills out a little bit. Yeah. Nick says, looks good, talking about the paintings, and Tao says, well, Elle did most of it. And Nick, like, giggles and says, that makes sense. And Tao makes a face like he's going to be like, fucking rude. And then he's like, okay, that was pretty good. And like kind of
Yeah.
giggles. And this is where my note that I shared on Instagram where I was just like, God damn it, I love them together. I love them. Kit and Will have such good chemistry that like they're always gold on screen together.
I'm like, it's just like, I feel like it's even more satisfying because like if you compare like them at this point to the scene, I can't remember if it was in Sorry or Boyfriend in season 1 where they're having the like tete-a-tete at the like table at lunch. Like it, you know, you can like really see how far that these two have come as, you know, friends in such a short time.
Yeah. And like also the Tao offering him a crisp, a chip, I don't and Nick takes one. It's like a perfect parallel to the bowling alley when they're eating the fries. But they're like, they're so much closer now than they were then, you know?
Yeah.
And then Tao says, I saw your Instagram post. And Nick, like, Nick is usually a super expressive person. And I noticed during this, as soon as Tao brings up Instagram, he's very like, you know, he kind of like crosses his arms over his legs and he's nodding and like saying one answer words. Like he's very nervous about this discussion. I love Tao. They're all idiots for assuming you're straight. And I'm including myself in that statement.
Character growth. I was like, this is what I've been saying, Tao, because just all last season you and I were screaming about how this is not a straight man. but yes, also I literally said also yay for character growth.
Yeah.
And then I actually wrote out a lot of this conversation because I think that it's like really important in a lot of ways. So Tao says Charlie must be really happy. And Nick says, in some ways, yeah. I mean, he says he's really happy, but I don't know. I think he's finding all the attention like a lot, which I think we're definitely seeing. And I think that this is like a central worry that Nick has throughout this season, and especially in this episode.
Yes.
And Tao kind of like confirms that he's like, well, yeah, he hates attention. So, and Nick says that he's just worried, and Tao asks how come. And Nick says, I think the more I learn about him, the more I think that the bullying and all the things that happened to him in the past, they really all affected him. And he still carries it all with him, even though it's over, it still causes him a lot of pain. I don't know. Do you think that's true? And I really like Tao's response. But before that, I think I asked this last season, but does Tao know about Ben?
I don't think anyone knows about Ben except for Nick.
Yeah, because I feel like it, like I definitely get the vibes that Tao doesn't know, but like the bullying and all the things that happened to him in the past, like felt very much like it was referencing what happened with Ben.
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
was like, huh.
Yeah, I think Tao is really internalizing what Nick is saying, though.
Yeah.
And not really thinking so much about Charlie and his experience. He's thinking about the way that it's affected Charlie and how that relates to how his trauma has affected him.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm really proud of Tao for being this vulnerable, especially with Nick. Because season Tao, I don't think would be this vulnerable with anyone aside from maybe Elle.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, I do. I think when something really bad happens, it can affect you for a really long time. Like, my dad died when I was 12. And, you know, I think a lot of the reason I get so freaked out about losing my friends and losing Elle is because losing him was just like, yeah. And I want to flag this for the end of the episode. I just want to flag that because I think that it's going to be important to some stuff that happens at the end of the episode. And I just start crying my eyes out. And then again, we get like the really good like comic relief because Nick like is like, I didn't know about your dad. And Tao's like, oh, don't be weird about it. You know, and it's just like,
which is such a Tao response.
It's a very Tao response. Like, please don't make this a thing. Right.
Yeah. And I love Nick just being like, I'll try.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm also very proud of him. This is a big step for Tao.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't just open up to anyone. And I think at this point, he knows how much Nick cares for Charlie. And he's had the opportunity to see that Nick actually cares tremendously for everyone that's in his life.
Yeah.
And like what I said earlier, what Nick is saying is like resonating with him,
Mhm.
and we've seen the effect that losing his dad has had on him.
Mhm.
And I just think that this feels like a very natural time for him. Like it feels very natural that he's
Mhm.
opening up and talking to Nick about these things. It also is a sign of like how settled into their friendship group Nick is at this point, that Tao is
Mhm.
like opening up to him this way.
Yeah, and they had some pretty good bonding time in Paris. Like, we have the scene of them in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
hotel room, so yeah.
Oh man, the back half of this conversation though.
It hurts. So Tao says, "You know the bullying. You know how bad it was, don't you?" And Nick says, "I mean, I heard some stuff, but yeah, Charlie never really talked to me about it." And Tao says, "Me neither," which I feel like
That's
is
a bombshell.
it's a bombshell, especially because of how protective Tao was of Charlie and like using the bullying as a reason for that. And I have to assume that some of that is like kind of like with hindsight, him feeling guilty about
Mhm.
possibly
Mhm.
being the reason that any of this happened in the first place. But it's like for him to be that protective and like being perceptive and knowing like how bad it was, but Charlie never really saying anything,
Yeah.
right? Like that's I think really important for Tao's character. But I also think that it's setting up this pattern of self-isolation for Charlie,
Yeah.
which is important, especially contextualizing it with everything that's happened this season and just kind of getting ready to move into season 3.
Yeah. The way that my stomach dropped the first
Mhm.
time I watched this scene, I like that was such a like slap in the face to me. It's so eye-opening that like it shows you, like you said, the self-isolation, like how he I don't want to say how he's processing it, but how he's not processing it basically.
Yeah. Mhm.
That is so much to carry around. And it really like highlights how much of his behavior is an act.
Yeah. And then we go to Charlie's room. And they're like, "Hey, that we're just going to move on. All right, you can sit with
Yeah.
that. Let's go to prom."
Yeah, the cut there, I'm like, how did they end this conversation?
Yeah.
Because like Tao had to see that look on Nick's face.
Yeah.
So like I would love to see the resolution of that.
I want to know what Tao's advice to Nick would be. Because we have seen these nuggets, even like before Tao like really warmed to Nick. We have seen these nuggets of Tao like offering advice on like how to navigate certain things with Charlie
Right.
to Nick.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Nick looks great in his suit.
Yeah.
And I love that Charlie like knocks on the doors and is like, "Close your eyes."
I love that Nick does it without hesitation. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't tease him or argue about it. And to me, that's like one of the sweetest things he does in the entirety of the show. Charlie
Yeah.
is uncomfortable, and closing his eyes would make him more comfortable. So Nick just does it without question. And he
Mhm.
so easily could have taken the piss out of him, but he just complies. And
Yeah.
it melts my heart every time.
Mhm. I also love that he not only closes his eyes, but then he slaps his hand over as well.
Yeah.
Like, but I think, the conversation that happens here, I do want to know because he does like ask, like he's already doing it, but I think he wants to know. So he's like, "Why?" And so Charlie says that, "I'm nervous you'll think I look weird," which like gets me in my soul.
Yeah.
And it says, "Okay, I'm not looking, but for the record, I think you always look cute." And I'm like, "Oh."
And in this moment, when we cut back over and Charlie's about to come in, we can see like the wall. And this is the cutest thing. It's been all over the internet, but the globe
Mhm.
is just like a normal globe. And then when Charlie walks in and they have that interaction and Nick looks at him for the first time, the globe lights up because he lights up his world. It's so cute.
Mhm. And Charlie walks in and he looks adorable, and I love this color on him, and I love the bow
Yes.
tie.
The bow
And I'm
tie.
only slightly disappointed that he's not wearing Converse.
Hmm. He
Um,
could have done solid black
he could have,
Converse.
yeah. So that's
Yeah.
what I said. I'm only slightly disappointed because I think the brown shoe really works with it.
Yeah.
Or am I misremembering? Whatever he's got works, but I feel like he could have gone for the Converse, and I think that would have been good too.
Yeah. And we get, like, when he walks in and he sees Nick, we get the, like Heartstopper, Nick and Charlie love theme, like, music.
I'm like, this maybe isn't entirely fair because Charlie gets to look at Nick before Nick gets to look at Charlie. They should have done this like a wedding first look. Nick's facing the other way and tap him on the shoulder. And I love he's like, I can't believe you're my boyfriend. It's so cute. They're so cute. I love them.
You love them too.
Can we just stay here?
Yeah, forever. Nick says, can I open my eyes? Charlie, like, takes a second to ready himself, and he's like, okay. And Nick just, like, pauses. He looks, like, absolutely taken aback. And Charlie takes that pause and immediately gets anxious. He's like, does it look bad? And in a parallel to Crush, Nick says, no, you look so good. You look so good. And he picks him up. Ugh. My heart explodes into a million pieces.
I'm like, there's like in this hug, and Nick is like, how about we don't go to prom and just stay here instead? And I'm like,
BBs. And then Charlie makes me sad.
Yeah.
He says, no, we have to go. Everyone's expecting us to go together now.
That is not a good reason, Charlie.
Nope. And Nick is so nervous. He's like, and a big appearance as a couple. That's definitely what we want. I love this little montage.
I love it, but it also breaks my heart at the same time.
Yes. But it's so cute.
Yes.
Also, I can't watch this scene without thinking about the blooper reel we got where Kit's like in his suit and he's like rolling his eyes back like he's possessed or something. So like it pulls me out of this scene every single time because I just see that in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get this little montage where like Nick and Charlie are like running through the entrance and everyone's cheering and there's like doodles that say like N+C forever, and there's like hearts and a rainbow and like a little cartoon crown goes on Charlie and like some little angel wings, and then they do like prom pose. Everyone's like behind them cheering. And then we cut back to Charlie and he's like beaming and he's like, yeah, it is what we want. No.
And like this again, like the reason it breaks my heart, and I'm gonna make everyone else sad now too, and I'm not sorry about it, is because it fits into this. It fits into this like idealized, perfect version of like everything, and he's just. It's like the self-fulfilling prophecy almost of like you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because if you have this like perfect image of what's going to happen in your mind, it's not going to pan out that way because nothing can be perfect. And if you have it, like if you're like holding it to these high standards, like you're just going to be disappointed and you're just going to be like unhappy no matter what happens. And I feel like that ends up kind of coming to pass.
Yeah.
And it hurts me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Speaking of things that hurt me, we go to Tara's room, and she's looking at her dress hanging on her closet door, and she goes to text Darcy again, who she still hasn't heard from. And we see that it says, Darcy, I really need your help. Where are you? And did your mom do something? And now she's typing in and says, whatever has happened, I'm here for you. And I'm just like...
Yeah, I know. Also, not to pull us away from the context of this scene, but on the wall behind her, I don't know if I've said this before, but her wall art, there's like a mushroom lady. And I love it so much. If I could have anything from any of their walls, I think I would take that mushroom lady. I need it.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Darcy on a swing, still in her suit. And like nearby over on the slide, there's like a little girl that's crying and her mom picks her up and she's like watching them. And then she grabs her things and like storms off. And then it cuts back to Tara and she sends, please come to prom tonight.
She must be so worried.
I would be losing my mind.
Yeah. like, I would be at the police being like, can I file a missing persons report? Like, my girlfriend is missing.
Yeah. I would have gone to her house way sooner.
Yeah. And we have Isaac, like, laying out his outfit, trying to decide between some shirts. And he's trying to read. He just, like, cannot focus. And he, like, throws the book behind him. And I feel so bad.
As someone who was pressured into going to prom by myself with a group of friends that were all dating, this is so relatable. It was an awful night. I don't recommend. He's just not looking forward to seventh wheeling, and I feel for him.
Yeah, no. But on a side note, right, he's like, his room is just like wall-to-wall books.
Yeah.
And I really want to know what his system is. Because he definitely has a system. I really want to know what it is. Also, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I did not pause and try. Well, I did. I tried to pause and like see like what the books were and try and like call out some titles, but I couldn't read any of them.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but and then we go to Elle's house, and Tao looks like he might throw up from this entire conversation.
I love how like silly her dad is.
He has been waiting for this moment for forever.
Yeah.
He's been waiting for this moment. And
he says, "What are your intentions with my Elle?" And her mom like scoffs and bats at him. She's like, "Richard." He's like, "I'm joking." And they all laugh. And then he like puts on a serious face and says,
"You know that Elle's mom had a conversation like now. Like,
yeah,
you don't go trying to scare this boy off. Like, you know how long she's been in love with him, right?" And then immediately he does it. And she's like, "What the fuck did we talk about?"
Yeah. He says, "If you're not back by 12, then you will be in trouble." Tao pauses, and then he looks at him like, You're kidding, yeah? This is a joke? And then they all laugh again, and then he looks like, "Help. Help me."
And Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
Because we have, like, footsteps as Ella's coming down the stairs and through the door, and she looks incredible.
So good. I love this outfit.
Like, her parents are beaming, and Tao's brain has completely gone offline.
Yeah.
He cannot form any comprehensible speech. He's just like, you're so, hello. She laughs and she says, "You look pretty good too." I love it.
So cute. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to outside Truum. Tara's waiting, looking frazzled as fuck. Mm-hmm. And then Headmaster Stephen Fry says, "Welcome to the Truum Higgs Year 11 prom. Tonight, we are celebrating the summer of love, so make sure to dance, have fun, and show off your date to the world." And I'm like, "Are you live streaming it?" Like
that felt a lot like a reference to the like trailer that was like show the world. Yeah.
Show the world what love is made of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also made me think of that. Mm-hmm. Tara's dress is so cute.
I love it.
It's perfect for her. Mm-hmm. I love this scene of them all coming together.
Yes. I love like Sahar and Isaac's little friendship. Yeah. It's so sweet.
So Nick and Charlie walk up hand in hand, I noted. Mm-hmm. Very cute. And they say hi, and Nick says, "You look insane." And I'm like, is that a compliment? And then Elle and Tao come up, and then Nick looks right past Elle immediately at Tao and goes, "Oh my God, look at you." And he says, mm-hmm. "Suspenders." I'm like, I love them. I love them so much. And the girls are like twirling around, showing each other their dresses. And then that's when Isaac and Sahar walk up. Nick immediately, before even saying hello to Isaac, turns to Charlie and says, "You're not the only one in a bow tie."
I love it.
So I thought that was cute. And Yeah, my note says, I like that we see Isaac and Sahara walking up together. I'm glad that he has another single person, cough not for long, cough, to latch onto for a bit tonight.
And it also, like, I do, like, it sucks because I feel like they would have had, like, a great time, but she's in the band, and so she's not, like, available to be, like, hanging around as much. But I am glad that they, like, showed up, like, that they, like, arrived together.
Mm-hmm. I also love Sahara's dress. Everyone looks so good.
Everyone looks great, yeah.
Nick, like, notices the guitar, and he's like, you play guitar? And she's like, yeah, I'm playing tonight.
With Baby Queen. Just casually.
Tara's, like, looking around. Elle looks around and notices, and she's like, where's Darcy? Tara lies and says, oh, she's just running late. Let's go inside. It kills me that she's lying about it, like, Tara of all people, because, like, they would absolutely help. Like, they would have search party,
but I almost think, like, she doesn't want to ruin this for them.
Yeah, and I also thought about she might be also just trying to protect Darcy in some way because not everyone knows about her family. Yeah. And, like, Tara only knows a little bit, but she does know that, like, it's not good, and she doesn't want to, like, tell her business to the group, I guess, is another thing that I thought of. But
Nick, in this, like, little bit here, like, really gets to me because he's like, no, we can wait. And Tara's like, no, like, well, she'll be here soon. Like, let's just go inside. And he, like, looks so confused and, like, is, like, looking around. Like, he just, like, doesn't get it. Like, he goes along with everyone, but, like, he clocks that something is wrong.
I mean, they haven't seen Darcy all day.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I think that, you know, he's putting the pieces together that something really is up. I love that Tao's like, let's go to the prom. And then everyone's like, to the prom. And we see Isaac, he, like, puts his arm around Sahar and they walk up. And I was like, I love them so much.
It looks so good inside. Like, it came together quite well. Like,
it looks phenomenal. Good job, Tara and the gang. Tao and Elle, like, tear off immediately. Isaac is already reading his book again. And then this moment, Tara says, I'm going to go have a look around for Darcy, giving away that she just lied that she was running late.
Yeah.
If she's looking for her inside. And Nick, like, watches her go. And so I feel like he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. No, he's doing the math here.
Yeah.
And then someone from the band, like, calls Sahara over. She's like, oh, I should go.
Nick and Charlie grab each other's hands and walk on in.
Yep. And then we cut to Tao and Elle taking photos, and Isaac is just kind of, like, watching. And I love, like, just Tao, like, the second pose, he's just, like, laying. Like, and I'm like, Tao, what are you doing? It's a very Tao thing to do. Yeah. It's just like, what?
Yeah. Wild. Just being crazy. So then we hear Harry walk by, and he says, I can't believe Nick's showing off his boyfriend, but none of you managed to bring a girl. And I just wrote, Harry, fuck off. Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is still pretty shitty. I guess maybe it's progress, but fuck you.
Less homophobic, but still a dick move. And the photographer is like, who's next? And Isaac immediately says, oh, I don't want one. And Charlie's like, Isaac, why not? And he says, because it's embarrassing just standing there alone. And Charlie does not even miss a beat before he's like, right. So come on.
Art
the
room.
Four of us are getting an art room photo. And Elle says, like the good old days. And then she says no books and grabs his book out of his hands. And I hope his bookmark was in there because she does not wait. She just takes it away from him. And they all start posing together.
Yeah. It's adorable, though.
It's so cute.
Yeah. And then we have this really, really sweet, like, scene with Sai, Christian, and Otis.
Yes. And they walk up and Otis kind of gets Nick's attention. Sai says, where have you been, mate? Too busy hanging out with your boyfriend? And Otis, like, scoffs and rolls his eyes like, I can't take these two anywhere. Like, no matter what I do, they're always fucking it up.
Like, we talked about this.
Yeah. And then Christian says, sorry if we made you feel weird about telling us. And Otis, like, takes the reins back and is like, I can't believe that Nick's the first one out of us to have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Christian says, I could easily have a girlfriend any day now. And, like, this whole time when they walk up, Nick, he looks very nervous.
Yeah.
And, like, he's not really sure how this interaction's going to go. And, like, as they continue to throw all of these things
he,
at
like,
him,
relaxes
he
more
relaxes
and more.
starts smiling. He's so encouraging of Christian. He's like, yeah? And Christian, bless him, says, is Tara Jones single? Otis immediately whips around. He's like, she's gay. Everyone knows this. Come on, man. And Cy, like, bops him upside the head. Christian's like, whatever. We missed you. And he says he missed them too. And that he'll see them later. Mm-hmm. And this whole time while this interaction is happening, if you look in the background, the group is doing, like, action shots. So, like, you could see, like, Tal and Elle's arms, like, shooting out. And above him, you can see Isaac and Charlie, like, jumping. So, like, I want those photos. Give me the action shots.
Yeah.
And Nick, like, kind of looks out across the room. And we cut to Tara. So I think he's already seeking her out at that point. Mm-hmm. She's, like, frantically looking through the crowd. Nick fights through over to where she's at. And she's pulled out her phone and is texting, Darcy, I'm scared. Where are you?
Like, at this point, Tara looks like she's about to, like, completely fall apart. Like, she's terrified.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah, no, it's fucking scary.
It's probably been 24 hours at this point.
Yeah.
Close to it, at least.
Yeah, because the last time that Tara heard from Darcy did she even send that message?
Yeah. I don't know if the Snapchat ever even sent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the night before. Again, time's a little wonky. I don't really know, because it's, like, still daylight out when she goes walking.
Yeah, but it's like midsummer, so, like, it's, you know.
Yeah. And Nick walks up and says, Tara, what's wrong? What happened? And she just breaks down. She's like, I don't think she's coming. And he's like, why not? And she says, I know something's wrong, but she never wants to talk about it. How do you talk to someone about something that they don't want to talk about? And Nick is like, isn't that the fucking question?
Yeah. I'm like, this seems relevant.
Yeah. Nick takes a minute to think, and he says, maybe you just have to try, even if it doesn't work. And she, like, gives him a smile and hugs him. And the lyrics...
Yeah. Because you know you'll always be my best friend. And I'm like, come the fuck on.
Cry.
It hurts me. I love their friendship.
Yes. Yeah.
And, like, oh, God.
Yeah.
I love that it became, like, you know, like, they were like, childhood crushes. And then they, like, drifted apart. And they, like, come back together and they, like, bond over, like, the mutual queerness, and they're just, like, best friends now. I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And Nick looks like he's gonna cry while he's hugging her. And, like, oh, yeah. Yes, like, it is because he sees the emotion in Tara and hurts for her, but it's also a realization that he, like, has to try to talk to Charlie. He can't keep just pushing it down, or nothing's ever gonna change. Charlie's gonna continue suffering. And I think in this moment, he's also scared of the outcome of the talks for both of them. Like, he knows that they're both about to have to do something hard with their partners.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we get our own little Baby Queen concert.
Baby Queen.
Like, the, like, microphone, like, turns on and everyone cheers and Sahar's on stage and then Baby Queen is there and they're playing Just Like Heaven by The Cure. Yeah. And Tao and Elle fucking cut it up.
Slay. It's epic.
It is incredible. I need to know the origin of this dance, both, like, from a behind the scenes perspective of, like, the choreography and, like, how this decision came to be, but also, like, in text. Like, this is clearly not something that can be fully improv'd in the moment. Like, they have been working on, I need to know. Yeah. I need to know. Give it to me.
I love the, like, little parallel to the Milkshake Cafe dance with the, like, fishing pole move.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's an epic dance number.
Yeah, and, like, I love the glow in the dark.
Yes, that was my next note. I love the black light.
Mhm.
Their outfits are my favorite.
Mm.
Her, like, the heart earrings with, like, the heart makeup on her face, and the purse is like a heart purse, too. It's, like, so good. And Tao's jacket. If I could have any one of their outfits, I would take
Yeah.
Tao's jacket. I love it
Tao's
so
is
much.
in my top 3. Tao's is in my top 3.
Yes, I have they're my favorite outfits, but they're not the ones that you would find in my closet because like I could never pull off Elle's dress. That's just that would never work with my body type. It's gorgeous. I love it, but I could never wear that. What I could wear is Baby Queen's outfit or Sahar's outfit.
We haven't really seen her yet, but Imogen's dress is my favorite. It's like perfect Imogen princess dress. The color looks amazing on her. I love the little shrug that she has with it. I love it.
I'm not surprised that you say that because also I posted the TikTok from last episode where you were talking about the thrift shop dress that was on the mannequin. And somebody was like, is that not the one that Imogen wears to prom?
Isn't.
And I was like, not. It's not. But they are kind of similar. So I'm not surprised that you like both of them.
Yeah. I like princess dresses.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, my favorites are in order Imogen's, Tara's, Tao's. That's my top 3.
Yeah.
And then I didn't think further down the line than that, but I have my top 3. I love Tao's jacket. I think it pairs really well with the shirt. I think it looks really good on him.
I love that it's like funky and not like your standard suit jacket because Tao is eccentric. And so like having an eccentric outfit is like.
And I'm also just like really vibing with the like open button down instead of like a tie or a bow tie or something. It works really well for him. It feels like, so if I think about Tao and I think about in Promise when he asks Elle out and he's got that outfit on and like he's just cut his hair, right? That feels like he got advice from someone else on how to dress nice. And this feels like a natural evolution of that feels much more like him. Like it's elevated Tao, but this feels much more like Tao.
Yes.
When Eddie first watched season 2, he described Tao's like that first outfit that I was talking about. He's like, I feel like he asked his like mob uncle how to dress to impress a girl, and this is what that uncle told him to wear.
Mob uncle, I'm dying. Not wrong.
Not wrong. Very specific, but hilarious.
Yeah.
And this feels like a much more natural evolution of like something that Tao would choose, but is in a similar, like elevated state.
For sure. So then they kiss, and she says, I want to go to Lambert. And he says, I know. And they smile. And then they
get the little butterflies.
Yeah.
And then we go to the library, and Isaac is just walking, and he goes to the Read with Pride display, and at the center of the table, which has been there the whole time, is the book Ace, What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society, and the Meaning of Sex by Angela Chen. And then it cuts back. There's more dancing.
James dancing with a boy. Eyes emoji, eyes emoji, eyes emoji. I was like, who's that?
Yeah.
It's like James, 2 girls, and another boy, but the boy is like very focused on James. And I'm like, I want him to be happy.
And then we get Tori.
It feels weird to me that she went.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like something she'd be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But she's there, slurping her straw.
And then Coach saying, is this Harry that she's talking to?
Yes, it's Harry.
I was like, I'm 99% sure that this is Harry.
It is.
He's brought some alcohol, and she is tearing him a new asshole.
I love that. She's like, is it in here? Did you put it in there at the punch?
Like, I can't believe you did this. Turn out your pockets. Do you have any more?
I'm like, it would be Harry. If anybody was going to bring the alcohol and try to put it in the punch, it would be Harry.
Yeah. And then I love Ajay. He's just like vibing to the music on the like along the wall. He's like just jamming. And Farouk comes over and Mr. Ajay is like surprised that he's there. Like he came.
I like that they, instead of saying hello to each other, they just greet each other by saying their name. Nathan, Yusuf, you came. It's very formal.
It is.
He's like, you said you needed more chaperones.
It very much has the energy of like, we have to act like nothing has happened because we're at work right now.
They're like not looking at each other. They're standing side by side, like not making eye contact.
The tension in this scene. Woo! Like, we know they've already fucked, but the sexual tension here is like radiating off of them. And Ajay is like, that night in Paris. I'm like...
And Yusuf cuts him off. He's like, pretty stupid thing for us to do. I'm like, Yusuf! Like, I know you're scared and you're like trying to be like casual about it out of fear. Like, oh, what a dumb mistake. But like, on the inside, he's like, like screaming and like panicking.
And Ajay's like, well, I was going to suggest dinner and drinks next time. And I love that the implication there is that the next time in question is more sex.
Yeah.
And not a date. Like,
a date, yeah.
Like, we should go out first.
Yeah.
And Farouk's like, they like slowly turn towards each other and like Farouk smiles and is like, next time. And they're so cute and like definitely want to kiss each other right now, but they can't because they're at prom.
Yeah. They definitely made out after.
Oh, yeah. Possibly in one of their cars.
Yeah, definitely in one of their cars. Or like, we'll stay and clean up. And like all the kids leave and they're like, let's make out at prom.
Yeah.
This is when I wrote my note. Again, give me the teacher spinoff. I need all of the behind the scenes shit with these two. The pining, the panic after Paris, all of the texts that they typed that they never sent. And then I put in all caps, I need it or I'll die.
So we have more dancing, and we finally see Imogen, and she looks amazing. She's like walking through the crowd up to the stage, and she's watching Sahar. And I get all happy, and it's so cute. And this in my first watch was I texted you screaming. And like there's little like music notes, like animated music notes coming up from Sahar's guitar, and Imogen is having a realization.
Yep. And the lyrics are, daylight licked me into shape. I must have been asleep for days. And moving lips to breathe her name, I opened up my eyes. And she looks up at Sahar.
And I die. I die dead. I have more notes about them later.
Yes, I have like a lyrical breakdown here. This song is like so perfect and so perfectly spliced because that's what we hear when we're seeing Imogen. And then we cut back to Isaac. And that's when the music is like muffled. That's when we get the lines, and found myself alone above a raging sea. And Isaac grabs the book.
So Isaac grabs Ace. Like he flips through, he reads the back cover, and he just hugs it to him.
No.
Like it is a lifeboat, which like when you add like the raging sea to it, right? That line, like he is holding on to this thing like a life raft, like keeping him afloat. And like just this is why queer books and queer representation are so important. And like the fact that this is in a library and like things that are going on in school districts across the country right now, like I have a lot of feelings of like why this is so important. And like it's just this like really profound moment of like this is a lifeline for Isaac right now, and like how these things can be a lifeline for anyone. And this also is, if you're in the Discord, I finally read Loveless last week, which is a coincidence. I had the audiobook on hold at the library, and the hold just happened to come through. So like I didn't plan this, but this is also like just because of like the book and how important this moment is for Isaac. I was also thinking about Loveless because we see that book in scenes a few times. It's in the it's one of the books that Isaac buys in Paris, It's in the background, and it's in the background when he meets up with James in Sorry. And so I'm just like thinking about, like, I wonder what led him to pick up that book and to like buy that book. I know he got a lot of books at Shakespeare and Company, but like I'm wondering, like, okay, but he bought this one. Like, I'm wondering why, like, what drew him to it. And I checked my copy, and it's a different edition because I have the US hardcover edition, and this is the like older UK paperback edition. So I don't know if the blurb is different on other editions, but the edition that I have, the blurb says, "This is the funny, honest, messy story of Georgia, who doesn't understand why she can't crush and kiss and make out like so many of her friends do. Everyone seems to say that dating plus sex equals love. It's not until she gets to college and that she discovers the A range of the LGBTQIA plus spectrum, coming to understand herself as asexual and aromantic. Disrupting the narrative she's been told since birth isn't easy. There are many mistakes along the way to inviting people into a newly found articulation of an always known part of your identity. But George is determined to get her life right, and with the help of, and despite the major drama of, her friends." And I'm just thinking a lot about where Isaac might have been in his journey and his realizations, because this was before he met Alex at the art show. And like, so I'm wondering, like, is this something that he has been navigating for longer than we have maybe seen? Yeah. And that for him, because he obviously hasn't read Loveless yet. We haven't seen him reading it. It's just been like it was in the pile of books that he bought in Paris. And like, I'm wondering if, this is something he's been thinking about. And then that conversation with Alex at the art show was not so much a realization or a discovery for him, but a validation of something that he's been suspecting for a while. So I had a lot of thoughts and feelings.
I definitely think he's been mulling this over since before he kissed James.
Oh, definitely.
I thought, do you think he read Loveless and then was like, I need something more like this is obviously a YA novel. I need like
nonfiction.
Yeah. And so he was like, oh, I remember when James and I put together that Pride display, that book was there. I'm going to go take it. I also was like, he was so close to the end of his book when they got to prom that I was like, he's finished it. And now he's like, I got to go to the library and get another book.
Well, and I mean, so that's the other thing, is because this book has been there. So like, Aro Ace identity is something that's been on his radar because like of this, at the very least, because of this book display. So that, like, I'm just like really curious as to like Isaac's internal life and what's been going on with him in the like parts of his story that we haven't seen. And I like the idea of like maybe off screen he read Loveless like after talking to Alex.
And then it cuts back to Imogen. And the lyrics are, you, soft and lonely, you, just like heaven. And she's watching Sahar. And Sahar looks up and notices Imogen noticing her. And she like smiles and does a like cute little flirty move on the last note.
And Imogen is having a proper full-on gay crisis.
Completely fries her brain.
She is like, what is happening? And I have so many feelings, and I cannot wait for what is in store for her. I'm like so excited to see what they do with this relationship. Yeah. And I'm also just like, holy shit, I was joking. They actually did it. My God.
So All the Things starts playing, and that Baby Queen, it's gone now. I went back and looked, but I had saved it and I found it in my camera roll to double check. But she did say that she wrote this song for Tao and Elle. I think it's very much like first half of the season, them trying to like figure shit out. Like, I just want to be with you. Nothing is the same without you. Like all those little notes we got of them in the beginning when they were trying to figure their shit out.
Yeah. And then we have
little
Charlie. Yeah. We have Charlie who like sees people looking at him and they're like whispering and talking, and so then like he like goes to sit down. We don't see that, but you put two and two together because in the next scene. And Nick walking through this crowd gave me major Kiss vibes.
Yes.
Of just like them looking for each other at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finds Charlie sitting at a table by himself, and Nick sits next down to him and takes his hand because
their little waves, though, are so cute when he sees him at the table. They're little
precious.
waves.
I love them.
Yeah, it's definitely a parallel to Kiss, though, and he, like, is looking for him, and he finds him on the other couch by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that he sits down and very deliberately puts his hand on top of the table. This is the first time, like, in a public setting that we've seen them hold hands on top of the table. And it's so cute. Nick says, feels weird. Should we, I don't know, dance or, like, get a photo or something? Charlie is highly entertained. He's like, can you dance? Nick's like, no, not at all. He's like, me neither.
And then he's like, takes a minute, and he's like, can we leave? And I'm so proud of him for saying that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've definitely been in places where I'm, like, super overwhelmed and super overstimulated and don't want to be there, but I just put up with it.
Yep.
Right? I'm, like, so proud of him for saying this.
Especially because, like, what? They've been there for maybe 30 minutes?
Yeah. And Nick is like, I thought this was what you wanted. I'm not worried about people seeing us together.
He's like, he like low-key is panicking a little bit.
Yeah, because I think for him, he's worried that that Charlie feels like Nick pressured him into doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Nick, baby.
Yeah.
But then Charlie says, but why should they have to see? We've been so obsessed with the idea of coming out. It's like we've forgotten why we wanted to do it in the first place. It's not for them. I just want to have a fun night with you and our friends. And I'm just like, exactly. Like, and I think that's the thing that Nick needs to, like, really internalize. It's like, they came out so that they could be themselves.
Yeah.
But, like, honestly, like, I feel like this became a thing where it's, like, all for show. Like, especially if you bring it back to Charlie saying, but, like, everyone's going to expect us to go together. Like, it becomes about being for show. It no longer is about them being together and having a fun night.
Right. Yeah. It's all about, like, giving people what they want.
Yeah.
Nick, like, he visibly relaxes. He's like, yeah, I want that too. And then he says, I mean, David and my mom are out tonight, so I do have a free house.
Yeah. And then Tao and Elle come over, and then Isaac comes over, and they all sit down together.
So they're just so funny. Tao comes over and he's like, great success. And he's like airing himself out because they've worked themselves up on the dance floor. And Nick is like, you two were incredible. And Charlie's like, you got the dance floor going. And then Nick says, you were throwing some serious shapes out there. I'm like, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Yeah.
Please tell me what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And then Isaac walks up and Charlie goes, he asks Isaac, where did you disappear to? And before he can respond is when Darcy walks up.
Hey, I thought prom was supposed to be vampire themed.
She is looking rough.
Yeah. And I mean, like, everyone is so, like, relieved and, like, worried about her at the same time.
Yeah. Like, Elle just says, oh my God. Tao immediately asks if she's okay. Isaac asks where she's been. Darcy ignores everyone and is like, where's Tara? Mm-hmm. And Nick says she went to find you. And you can see the panic, like, cross her face.
She's like, oh shit. Like, I fucked up.
She went to my house. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is, in fact, where she goes.
And she walked all the way there in heels. How far is the school and how far is Nick's house? Because she walks there next in heels. My feet, I am in pain for her.
So she's walking down the street and she goes up to Darcy's house and knocks on the door. And Darcy's mom is a fucking bitch. Yep. And, like, Tara, like, just says hi. Like, she barely has hi out before Darcy's mom is like, we don't take cold calls, and tries to slam the door in her face.
Yep.
And it's like,
rude.
What the fuck?
She's a terrible person.
Mm-hmm. And then Tara she's like, wait, I'm Darcy's friend.
Yeah. And then mom, like, kind of opens the door back up and she said she was coming to our school prom tonight, but she didn't show up and she hasn't been replying to my messages. So I was just, is she okay? And her mom just pops back with, and how would I know that? Because she's your fucking daughter.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm so mad.
I mean, not as mad as I am about to be.
Yeah.
I want to fight this woman.
Uh-huh.
So Tara's like, do you know where she is? And Darcy's mom says, she had another one of her tantrums last night over an outfit. Can you believe? If your own mother can't tell you the truth about an outfit, who can? She looked like a lesbian. And like, her mom like spits the word out like it's like disgusting. And she'll realize she was in the wrong and she'll come straight back.
And when she says the line about about she looked like a lesbian, it cuts back to Tara and she like looks up the stairs, like she's looking like, oh shit, like this is the environment that Darcy lives in.
And Tara's like, okay, well, if I find her, I'll ask her to let you know she's okay. And the mom's just like, thanks then. Bye. And I'm like, you are so unbothered that your teenage daughter left last night and hasn't been seen or heard from since. Like, thank God she's okay.
Yeah.
I am so angry at this whole thing. And like, I know that's the point, but it's done so well. Yeah. And I am just in a like rage. I'm like, your child walked out the house and has not been seen or heard from. And her friend, right, is coming to you saying, do you know where she is? Like, that's not setting off alarms for you.
Right.
And you're just going to say, oh, she had a tantrum and she'll realize she was wrong and she'll come right back. Don't you think if that was going to happen, she would have come back before sleeping in the goddamn park last night?
And this is like a huge eye-opener for Tara.
Yeah.
Like, Darcy's opened up a little bit since Paris. Like, we see in the last episode where she's, like, showing her the messages and talking about, like, she's just so mean or whatever. I think she's made her out to be, like, strict and kind of bitchy, but has not revealed how horrific she actually is. And, like, things are slotting into place. Gaps are being filled in. And it, like, that has to be so much for her to process.
Yeah. And thank God Nick calls and is like, we found her. Like,
because when her mom shuts the door before her phone rings, she looks around and she looks so helpless. Like, like she's not here. Like, and her phone is clearly off. Like, what do I even do?
I genuinely think that if Nick hadn't called, she would be going to the police.
Yeah.
And being like, this is what happened. Like, I went to her house. Her mom doesn't know. Her mom doesn't care. And we should maybe contact child services.
Also, good on her for saying I'm Darcy's friend.
Yeah.
Because if she had said, like, I'm her girlfriend, like, that would not have fucking gone over well.
No. Yeah. And you could tell she was, like, not sure. And then we go to Nick's house, and the way that this scene is juxtaposed, like, against the last scene, because, right, in both scenes we have her coming up to a door, and, like, the way that she's being greeted, right, she opens the door, and everyone is there, and, like, Darcy is, like, front and center, and Tara just, like, falls into her, like, with this, like, huge hug, and I'm pretty sure Darcy's crying, and I'm also pretty sure Tara's crying, and I'm pretty sure that I'm crying. And everyone just joins in for, like, a big old group hug, and it's just like, this is what family is supposed to be.
And Isaac says, love you guys, and Charlie says, a lot, in the group hug, and I was like, oh, my babies!
I'm not okay.
Also, it reminded me of Out, when Imogen comes to the door and everybody answers all at once. But then we cut to Tara and Darcy in the living room with the doors shut. And Darcy, as usual, is avoiding it by looking at photos of tiny Nick. She's not wrong. The little tiny kit photos are so cute. Tara just jumps in. She's like, where did you sleep? Darcy tells her she went to the park. It was fine. Nobody was there. Tara's like, why didn't you text me? And she says that her phone was dead. She didn't have a charger. And then Tara's like, well, why didn't you walk to my house? Like, you know, she's just grasping for something. Yeah. And Darcy, like, takes a breath and she's like, because I didn't want you to know. And she sits down and she says, do you remember when we got locked in the music room the second time? You told me that you didn't feel as confident about being a lesbian as I did. and I wanted to be that person for you to help you through your journey. And Tara says, but you are that person. And Darcy says, at school, maybe. I'm not even out to my own parents. I don't think I ever will be. I hide who I am when I'm at home. I'm not confident. Sometimes my mom makes me hate myself. But then you said, I love you, but what if that person doesn't even exist? This explains so much about Darcy and
So
like the
much.
way that she's acted since Tara said, I love you.
Uh-huh.
Like we knew that it related to her home life, but watching it for the first time, I was so curious to find the root of it. And
Mm-hmm.
like, this is it. She's like terrified. She feels like a fraud, right? She feels like
Yeah.
half a person because of the way that her mother has treated her.
Mm-hmm.
And Tara like makes her feel whole. So she is trying so hard to like present herself as this like confident, proud
Mm-hmm.
anchor that Tara needed. And that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. And it makes sense that
Yeah.
she would be terrified to shatter the image that she thinks Tara has built up of her in her
Mm-hmm.
mind. She has this idea of like how Tara will react when she finds out about her home life and the reality of the like quote unquote other half of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And like, to be honest, that is something that I struggle with like all the time and something I've been working on in therapy for a while is this idea where I get like so worked up about how I think someone's going to react about something that I forget that it's like one of 100,000 ways that they could
Yeah.
respond and
Mm-hmm.
like 9 out of 10 times it is fine, but like in the moment it's so hard to remember that the scenario you're running in your mind is not absolute.
Yeah.
And so this scene just like really fucking hit me hard.
Yeah.
And Tara says, so you were scared to say it back because you didn't believe that I could love you. And Darcy says, well, you've only ever seen half of my life. And Tara says, and I'm seeing the other half now, and I still love you. And then we get our comedic relief here where Darcy says, are you sure? Because I'm a literal disaster. And Tara does not miss a beat. And she's like, oh, I know. And then she gets this like shit-eating grin on her face. And she's like, I actually like how much of a disaster you are.
Yeah.
And Darcy like closes her eyes and takes a breath. And she says, I'm so in love with you. I'm just bad at saying it. And Tara says, well, practice makes perfect.
I
And
love
then
this
I have
so
my
much.
notes say, Darcy, I love you. Tara, I love you. And cue Taylor Allison Swift.
I know it wrecked me. And so, I love Folklore. It's in my top
Yes.
Taylor albums. So I listen to this song with some frequency.
Yeah.
And like just every time I listen to it, like after having seen it in the show, I'm like, this is a perfect Tara and
So
Darcy.
good.
But I'm so mad because they didn't put the bridge, which is what I think is such a really good I think you should come live with me and we should be pirates.
Yeah.
Your dad is always mad and it must be
It's
why. Like
perfect.
it's so perfect, but they didn't put that part in and I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Ah.
I do think that like it's funny because when we were like trying to guess like what Taylor Swift song could they use, this one never crossed my mind, but it does like especially like later on in this montage when we see them all hanging out and stuff. This song really does capture the innocent magical feeling of being a child, like of being a
Yeah,
youth.
it's like so wistful and like just like this like sense of like the swinging like back and forth. Like it's
Mhm. And like not having any anxiety, like when she says like I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted, like
yeah,
not caring what other people think because you're just like carefree and like it's very very perfectly chosen.
it's really well done. God. And it kills me. And I will be honest, my notes during this song are not as good because I'm just vibing and just
Uh,
like keyed into the like
to Taylor.
Taylor Swift of it all. And I'm like, oh God, I am a caricature of myself.
So then we get there like I love you, I love you, I love you, and they kiss and Tara says, so you promised me a dance. And she stands up and Darcy's like, have I ruined your prom? And Tara says, nah, it was kind of boring anyway. Which, like, isn't that the truth about all of those dances?
Yeah.
And so then they start slow dancing, and we get these, like, glowy orbs all around them. And I just love it so much. And they, like, slowly fade away as the door opens, and Charlie and everybody is standing there. He asks if they're okay. They say yes, and then they say that they're making tea. Do they want to have some tea? And then we get this montage. And all of this is improv.
I love that.
It's perfect. We get them playing. I wrote, what is this game? Is it like makeshift beer pong, but they're not in a shape? It's like quarters, but
no, they're shape. They're like in a shape. Cause I was like, wait, is this beer pong? They're like in like the beer pong shape. It's just all like haphazard, like
whiskey glasses and
whatever cups they could get out of the cabinets, which is stressing me out because I'm like, someone's gonna knock it over, something's gonna break. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. This is why we do this with plastic cups, you guys.
Yeah. But they're also bouncing it and not tossing it.
Yeah, that's true. But still.
Which makes me think of like quarters. But anyway. And then we get a shot of Tara and Darcy like whispering to each other, and then Tao and Elle are together. And then Isaac reading, and that fades into Nick and Charlie behind him that are like having their own little moment. And that is right as Taylor sings "Or Hide in the Closet," and we all start crying harder than we already were. And then we get this weird cereal box game. I don't really know what's happening here.
You have to pick it up with your teeth?
Which seems easy. Like, Isaac kills it, but then Tao, like, smashes his face.
Yeah, but Tao has no awareness of his body at all.
So true.
So
true. He's like a baby deer.
Yeah.
And then we see Nick and Charlie kissing intensely while the others are frolicking behind them, and they're perfectly heart-shaped. And then we see the group giggling, and then they play hide and seek, and they're the worst players in all of history to ever play this game.
Happening. I had no idea what was going on, so I just wrote friendship shenanigans. I hope Ashley has a better note about this.
It's hide and seek. Charlie goes behind a curtain. Isaac holds a pillow in the same hand as his book. Tao gets under a blanket. Like, they're worst.
All in one room. It's not even like they're dispersing throughout the house.
Exactly. And then we get this dance break, and I just want to point out that we get to see Tara and Isaac dancing together. And then she tries to get him to put his book down and dance, and he's like, no, it's never going to happen. And here they are dancing together, and Elle joins in. And then we see Isaac dancing with Tao and Nick, and they're all like cracking up, laughing. And then we get Nick and Charlie slow dancing while everyone else is like bopping around them. And I just wrote, thank you, Joe and Kit, for this gift.
Yeah.
And then we cut to everyone leaving. Tao hugs Nick and he says, see you around, get home safe. And I just wrote, I love them! I love them. And this is when we get to see Elle's purse. And it's like the little box with the heart in it. Oh, I love it. It's so cute. They all hug. Tara has on Darcy's jacket.
And they give Nick such a big hug, and it's so cute, and I love their friendship. And this is where I start writing fan fiction about Tara and Darcy and Nick and Charlie buying adjacent houses and raising their kids together, and everyone else is always coming around, and they have dinner together like once a week, and weekly game nights or film nights.
Yes.
And like, I just like, but like Tara, Darcy, Nick, and Charlie are like the backbone of this group. And like, I just love them. And also like Nick, I think, was the one looking out for Tara like all day.
Yeah.
While all of this is happening. And I love that I love this moment for the three of them.
Yeah. They're all so cute.
And then so after everyone leaves, there's this shot of like Charlie and Nick standing in the doorway, and like they're just like a little bit disheveled, like jackets are off, Charlie's bow tie is off, like they're like, you know, he's like a little unbuttoned, and they're just like leaning in the doorway, and it's like that like relief of like finally alone. And I just had this mental image of this happening like at their wedding. Like they have like an after party for like their close friends, and everyone's leaving, and they're standing in the doorway like this, and I'm just having a lot of feelings. And
oh my god! Don't mind me. I'm just gonna go shove my head
I
through a
saw
wall.
that shot and like just my brain immediately aged them up like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not well. I'm not well. Send help. And so I needed everyone else because then, right, everyone's gone and Nick pulls Charlie into hug and picks him up and he's got Charlie like up, still up, like leaning against his torso, shuts the door with one arm
and like, carries him to the stairs.
Yeah.
Little cuties. And this is my note here. It says, it is at this point, a bottle of wine in, that I see their suit jackets hanging together and I remember, but I don't want to wear matching suits. And they don't, but they are perfectly complementary to each other. And I am a puddle on the floor. And then they hold hands and run upstairs.
And then they're snuggling.
Also, I love the like speckles on Charlie's shirt.
Mm-hmm. So then it's snuggle time.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie says he needs to go home soon and that his mom will get annoyed if he's late, which is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Nick doesn't want to admit it, and he's just like trying to like kiss Charlie, and Charlie says, I see what you're doing, and Nick says, my plan's been foiled. And I would very much like the episode, I would like to end the episode here.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I do like a little bit, like there's like the end of this is a roller coaster.
There's a couple more lines. Okay. I just, because the next thing leads into... All right, yeah. So Charlie gets up and he's looking around the room and he grabs like one of the rugby trophies. Charlie says, you've got so many rugby trophies. And Nick says, that one's from summer camp. Charlie says, you went to rugby summer camp? And then Nick goes, when I was 12. I think I had a crush on the instructor. He's like definitely putting 2 and 2 together about that in this moment, right? Charlie's like, oh my God. And he says, I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back now, I was obsessed with him. So I tried really, really hard and got that trophy for being the best team player. And Charlie says, that is so adorable. And now for real, I would like the episode to end.
I also like that he's like, I've got to go. My mom's going to be mad. And he gets up away from him and then is like, how else can I stay here, though? I'm going to mess with this trophy and then I'm going to sit on this beanbag chair.
Yeah.
And Nick is like beaming at him. But then he gets a little more serious. And he says, now your turn. And Charlie's like, what? And he's like, tell me something. And he says, like, what? And Nick takes a pause. And that's when you're like, fuck. And he says, well, you never told me about the bullying, what that was like.
And I make my grumpy face.
I'm
sorry, Nick. This is not the right time. Like, for me, I'm like, I know you're trying to know and understand Charlie a bit more, but what was the bullying like is not on the same level as I think I had a crush on my rugby instructor when I was at summer camp when I was 12. And it's like, it's a really hard left turn for me. Yeah. I'm like, I know what you're trying to do, but this just does not feel like the right circumstance. Like, this is when you ask Charlie about his embarrassing middle school crushes, not bring up literal trauma.
I just feel like he can't hold it in anymore.
No, I totally get that. But like at the same time, I'm like, not the right, no. But I think that it, like, as much as I feel that way, I do think that it like emphasizes the fact that Nick is also like only 16 years old and he can't fully help Charlie process this in the way that he needs. And I do think that it is important for Nick to understand what Charlie went through. And I think that this conversation is an important stepping stone towards Charlie being able to get the real help that he's going to be getting in the next season.
Yeah.
I just don't think this was the best way to go about doing that.
It's been building and building, and then the conversation with Tara, like, I just think it just kind of, it just flowed out,
I totally get it. I am of 2 minds on this.
Yeah,
and I think they go well together, but like, just like the first, like when I hear it, I'm like, that's not the conversation you're having right now.
Yeah. And the look on Charlie's face
just completely goes inward. Like he shuts off.
Hashtag give Joe Locke an Emmy. This is so well done.
Mm-hmm. He just like curls in on himself and it hurts. And this is where Charlie's like, we don't need to talk about that. Everything's fine now, which like clearly it's not. And then Nick, is everything fine? I know you like everything to be fine and happy and perfect all the time, but you don't have to be perfect with me. And like, this is where I made my note originally about like being at a point, like there was definitely a point in my life where I felt like this. And it's just, I feel like for me and possibly for Nick, it's been a bit of a red flag that he keeps saying like, it's perfect, everything's perfect. And I think Nick is trying to give him that permission to like let go of that image. But Charlie is also not there yet and isn't going to be for a little while now.
Yeah, and it's at this point that he like pulls his legs in closer and he like starts to shrink in on himself. And Nick comes down and like gets on his level and grabs his hand. And he says, Charlie, we said we'd tell each other things after you told me about your eating thing. And Charlie like takes a moment and you can see him like hyping himself up to like open up. He's like, okay.
This is my give Joe Locke and Emmy moment, is this whole story. Yeah. And the way that he does, and like, I like, it just rings so true to me of like telling someone you love about like the darkness inside you that you don't know how to exercise.
Right.
And you don't know how to get out. And it just like, he starts out like, it like starts out like very nonchalant and just like, it gets like deeper and darker and it hurts me. Yeah. So he says, someone just heard Tao talking about me coming out. And I think it surprised me how homophobic people were. I thought things were better nowadays. People would just call me disgusting to my face. And then this is where he starts to break.
Yep.
Right? Like he's kind of like, you know, chill. Like it's casual, it's fine, right? It's in the past. But then he says, and it went on for so long that I think I started to believe that what they were saying. It made me really hate myself so much that I used to cut myself sometimes. I don't want to feel like that anymore. And you can tell this is the first time that he's admitted this to someone because he can barely get it out. And like, I'm proud of him for telling Nick this because it can be really hard to talk about these things. And I mean, Kit also, like, as he's listening to this, is also destroying me. Like, it is so much. I'm like, can we give them both an Emmy? Can they share an Emmy? Can they both get an Emmy? I mean, Kit got one last season, so I think Joe should get it this season. But like, can we give?
They're both.
Like,
it's both.
It's so good because like Nick isn't saying anything, but he's just like listening to this and like realizing how bad it truly was. Like, it's worse than I think he ever could have even imagined.
Definitely.
And like, there's also, and I wrote more about this later. I think like this just fear, right? Especially as Charlie is like admitting to self-harm, like this fear that like Nick didn't have before. That's like coming up of like, oh my God, like, am I going to lose him?
Yeah.
And I think that for Nick, it's also like, this is the point where he's realizing this isn't something that he can help Charlie with on his own. And that he is just a kid and that there isn't much that he can do.
Yeah. It's so much deeper than he ever thought. And I think that he is totally and completely overwhelmed in this moment. And I think that he like, it shows that he doesn't know, like he doesn't know what to do or say, but his love language again is physical touch. So he just immediately engulfs Charlie in a tight embrace because that's the only thing he knows what to do in that moment. And I think it's interesting, the word choice. I don't want to feel like that anymore, instead of like, I don't want to do that anymore or like anything. It's all like, it's taking the focus away from the coping mechanism and bringing us back to the root, right? Like, I used to cut myself sometimes, but I don't want to feel like that anymore. And that's like really important, I think. Nick asks, do you still do that now? Charlie says no. I don't know if I believe that.
I believe that Charlie at this point isn't cutting anymore. I don't know how long he's not been, but I think that, you know, there's other forms of self-harm going on.
Definitely.
But
I think for me, it's just that I saw other signs at the beginning of the season, but then I guess like just because he's saying he doesn't do it now doesn't mean he hasn't done it recently. So
Yeah.
take me saying I don't believe that with a grain of salt. I think that it has happened this season. Maybe not in the last like couple of weeks or whatever before this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
like definitely not during Paris because like
right.
there wouldn't have been a way. But I want to move on, so we're gonna move on.
So yeah.
So he says sorry, and Nick says, I thought we banned the S word, and they pull back, and he says, can you promise to tell me if it ever gets that bad again?
If we weren't broken enough.
Hurts me so much that Charlie doesn't say yes,
Yeah.
right? Because that means he doesn't want to tell Nick.
Yeah.
He wants, so which I think leads into like definitely like recently this has happened,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe not like currently, like
right,
now
exactly.
in this present moment, he hasn't been doing that. But so he says, I just don't want to annoy you or burden you, which to me sounds like I intend to continue doing this.
For me, I think I don't want to annoy you or burden you sheds light on how often he feels that bad.
Yes.
So like, it's not like, I don't want to tell you though, like once every 3 months it happens. I don't want to tell you because it's happening multiple times a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to overwhelm you.
Yeah. And he says, I don't want you to think I'm some fragile, broken mess. Like you need to fix me. I would hate that. And as if this scene hasn't already completely destroyed us.
Yeah.
Nick says, you're not, and I wouldn't. But I've done so many things that were scary in the past few months because you were there holding my hand. And I want to be that for you too. Like, you're my boyfriend. Char, can you please promise me? And there's so much going on in here.
He's so desperate for him to promise. Like the way that he whispers the first, can you just please? Like, Char, can you just please? Please promise me. He's like grasping, please, can I just let me help you with this?
And it's not even that he's asking, please don't do this. Just please tell me
about it. Yeah.
Right? Because I think that he understands that saying don't do this is not reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think that, I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on because I think it's important for Charlie to hear that he's not a burden.
Yeah.
Whether or not he believes it is one thing, but I think it's important that he hears it. And I also think that it's important for Charlie to hear just how much Nick cares about him because like I have been on both sides of this conversation with people that I love. And it is terrifying to be sitting in Nick's position and hear someone admitting that they're in such a dark place.
Yeah.
And just like being terrified of like what that means and just being terrified that you're going to lose them.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, and then it makes me think back to what Tao said of how hard losing his dad was and how that is like part of what makes him so scared to lose anyone else. And it's gut-wrenching. And
then Charlie says, okay, which is not yes and not I promise. And I throw up everywhere.
And then this shot of the two of them on the floor and like Nick kisses his forehead and then kisses him on the lips. It just completely destroys me. This whole time, like we haven't even mentioned, there's no music.
Yeah.
This is all just dialogue is the only sound. And it's really emphasized because now they're sitting in silence together and there's so much love and so much emotion. And it just, you're like feeling the weight of everything that just happened. And it's just doing so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry. I need to stop talking because I'm going to cry.
I know. It's a lot to process. And he grabs him, he kisses his forehead and then they kiss. And once again, they're perfectly heart-shaped. But I think a lot about the fact that Charlie is really struggling with all of this stuff and feeling like a burden and all of this thing. It's his brain that's fighting him. And Nick kisses him on the forehead and then tells him he loves his hair and his eyes and all the things around his brain. And it just, I have so many emotions. I don't even like have words to explain everything I feel
Yeah.
watching this scene.
I will say, right, because he goes, I love your hair, I love your eyes, I love, right? And it gets
Yeah,
cut off by Sarah. The first time I watched this, I really thought they were gonna go for it. I
I
was like,
know.
wait, are we doing this? And like
Mm-hmm.
the excitement of that just opposed with me loving the scene in the comics with Nick running like half dressed out,
Mm-hmm.
sopping wet. I'm like, it just gets me. Like,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where this is now my third time, I think, watching this episode. And like I still get that like feeling of like, wait, are they gonna
Uh-huh.
and like even
Yeah.
though I know that that's not what's gonna happen. And then Sarah, we hear Sarah coming in,
But
and
like the like 3 seconds of silence after he cuts himself off, and I love, and they're just looking at each other. The
it's all
tension
in there.
is like I can't breathe. I can't breathe, and I'm not even there.
It's a
I
lot.
also love that Sarah comes home as loud as fucking possible. She's like,
Oh.
like, prom night. I'm back. Mom is in the house.
And then we get the music come back in, and it's You're So Pretty, and I'm So Unwell.
I just like I was already crying, but like when You're So Pretty started the first time I watched this, I just like burst into like heavy sobs.
Same. And this is where I have a lot of lyric notes.
Same.
So right, Charlie's wearing Nick's hoodie, they kiss in the doorway, and they just look so happy and so in love despite what just happened.
Yes. Nick grabs Charlie's hands and puts them around his waist before he reaches up and like cradles his head. And every single time I see that, I'm like,
Yeah. And the lyrics over this are You're so pretty. When you smile, it kills me. Can't stop thinking about the way you kissed me under the stars. And then the lyrics continue to be perfect, but I could just sit here transcribing
yeah.
the lyrics to this song, but if I do that, I'm gonna explode.
Yes.
And then I also don't know why I didn't clock this till now, but I was like, there's something about doorways in this show. And I feel like I need
I've made
a deep analysis of both seasons, just focusing on the like doorways, because I feel like there's definitely something and I can't put my finger on it.
There is, and I have made a doorway compilation of all of their moments in doorways in both seasons that goes all the way through. I posted that in our Discord. It was requested, and I was like, I can do that. Give me 10 minutes. I'll be right back.
I will find it and I will watch it.
But they break apart and like giggle, and then they go to kiss again, and then we get this shot of Charlie on his tippy toes. And it's so cute. And like Charlie says, I'll text you when I get home, and Nick says okay, and it physically hurts them to pull apart here, and you can feel it.
My nose, their fucking faces, I am dead, call the goddamn morgue.
Yes.
I like was not well watching this.
Mm-hmm. So Nick leans against the door frame, and this is where I have notes about like actors are so talented, because his eyes are screaming I love you. And like how do you do that when it's a like you're not actually in love with the person? I don't know. I was just like, wow. Like you can just see it all over his face. And Charlie's like a blubbering mess. He's like giggling and like turning around, like he doesn't know what to do.
And then Nick closes the door, and the lyrics are, I'm so scared that the moments we shared won't happen again. I don't want this to end. And when it says, I don't want this to end, Nick's face, like, it completely falls. And he is terrified. And, like, he is thinking through and processing everything that just happened. And this is the moment that I was saying before that I was trying to get a screenshot of. And I just, like, it kept not, like, pausing in, like, a good spot. But just the way that his face falls and, like, just, like, this freaking subtitle of the lyric lingering. Like, I was like, oh my God, I want to die. Like, this is killing me. What the fuck, Heartstopper? Why are you doing this to me?
It is rough.
It's incredible, but it's awful at the same time.
The second that he shuts that door, he no longer has to hold himself together for Charlie's sake. And he can just feel everything. And it is just, ugh. And the music is rude.
The music is extremely rude. And the rest of the episode is also extremely fucking rude.
Yeah,
and I know that it's like 30 seconds of like actual show time left, but cuts to Charlie, right? He's like looking back towards the house and he takes out his phone. And his lock screen is a picture of him and Nick with the ice cream. And he opens the Instagram app, and the Instagram app is already open to his DMs with Nick. And he types out, I love you. And he hovers his finger over send. And I was like, but I am so completely and entirely unwell. And then the episode ends on the goddamn lyrics, don't leave me. Fuck you, everybody.
My note says, he types out, I love you, hesitates again. And then we see him smile. And then it cuts to created and written by Alice Oseman. Rude! I am dead. Send help. Holy shit. And then I have a bunch of key smashes about the glowy orbs being in the credits. Because it's so pretty.
I was very specific. I was so focused. I was like, what is the name of the music supervisor? Because I need to yell at them specifically by name. So I was like so honed in and I was like reading all of the credits. I was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And the music supervisor's name is Matt Biffa, and fuck you very much. I mean, I appreciate you getting 7, right? That must have been very difficult, but fuck you very much for everything else that you did in this episode. How dare you make me have an emotion?
Matt, I'm gonna need you to meet me in the parking lot.
I need everyone to know that for the last, like, what would you say, 45 minutes, I'm holding on to a stuffed Squirtle for dear life because I can't with the end of this episode.
Oh, it's so much. It's so much. And I think this might be a good moment before we go into our ending stuff to say that I have watched this episode probably like at least 12 times in the last 24 hours. I just kept repeating
did it 1.5.
And it's been, playing in my living room. And about an hour before this recording started, I was watching it again and it ended. And my partner...
I'm going to do some drum rolls.
My partner came around the corner and said, all right, idea. I'll watch the show with you for Patreon.
Yeah! We did it, fam!
So I don't know if this scene had anything to do with it, but it probably did. And we will be watching it for Patreon. I was like, no takesies backsies.
You'll have to make sure that you ask him what led him to decide to watch the show.
Yes. So, yeah. Wow, season 2. Fuck me. I'm not ready for season 3.
No, is anybody?
No.
I think maybe people who haven't read the comics and don't actually know what's about to happen to them.
Yeah.
Like, I actually have a student who told me that she watched the show recently. She was like, oh yeah, I watched that. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I'm so excited for season 3. And I was like, have you read the comic? She was like, no, I want to. And I was like, oh, sweetie. Oh, honey. She was like, but I need to get the books. And I was like, no. You can read it online. And so as of yesterday, she told me she was like almost done with chapter 2 as of like 3:30 yesterday. Not yesterday. Sorry. It's Sunday. As of Friday.
Yeah. That poor student. Read the comics. Read the comics so you know you're not blindsided by the trauma that we're about to be hit with.
Yeah, this is one show where I'm like, you really should read it first just so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
I love how, like, in season 1 we were like, oh my god, it's like so wholesome and everyone should read it and watch it. And now we're like, guys, this
Be
is serious.
But we did say, I said in season 1, like, I get so caught up in the goodness of season 1 that it'd be like, it's so lovely. And then after they were like, I'm going to watch it, I was like, but also it's traumatic.
No, I think that's definitely true. But I feel like as we're like leaving season 2 and into season 3, it's so much heavier that it's like,
yeah, definitely.
I feel like it's so much less of the, oh my God, it's so cute. And you have to be like, here's the deal.
Yeah. It's one of the greatest stories ever written. However, I need you to take a moment to prepare yourself before diving in.
Yeah.
Where'd you fall on the scale?
85 billion?
Nice. For me, it was a 500 billion out of 5.
Yeah, 500. I just like infinity.
Yeah.
I think
the scale no longer exists. It has imploded.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, quotes is hard. We struggled with this one.
I still don't have one.
I landed on the whole like end scene before they go back downstairs, the trauma stuff, just because it's so important. But my highlight of it is going to be I love your hair so much. I love your eyes. And I love ...
Unspoken
It is my lock screen, to be fair. The speed with which I made it my lock screen after Alice drew it and posted it, like the comic versions of them doing this scene, it broke records. I immediately made it my background. But I did want to give, like, guys, I'm having a breakdown was definitely on my list. Just the line, you don't have to be perfect with me, was on my list. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I gotta give it to that end scene.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna make mine. Farouk's like little smile when he says next time. I think
nice.
I'm thinking going with like the like cute little like crack in his like tough exterior, like hopefulness and like a little bit of eyebrow waggling.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with that. This is my truth.
Nice. Hell yeah.
But like, can I include what I imagine Imogen's internal monologue to be when she's watching Sahar up on the stage? Does that count?
Yes, and what is it? Share.
I don't know exactly. Like, I don't have it fully articulated, but I like fully and deeply and truly understand it in my soul.
You'll have it ready for our season 2 wrap and let us know what you think her internal monologue is.
Excuse you? I'm the teacher here. I'm the one who gets to assign homework. But also, it's probably just like a little bit the song "What Is This Feeling" from Wicked. So it goes, what is this feeling so sudden and new? I felt the moment I laid eyes on you. My pulse is rushing. My head is reeling. My face is flushing. Oh, what is this feeling?
Yeah.
And of course, in the song, the feeling is loathing. I would like to think that the feeling is gay thoughts. So, yeah.
Gay thoughts. Yeah. It's her face is like full on panic in that scene. It cracks me up.
I literally wrote Imogen is having a proper full on gay crisis.
Yeah.
She's just like, what?
Mm-hmm. I love her little like woo at the end.
Yeah, she's like, wait, don't let don't let anyone know.
Everything's normal.
Everything's fine and normal. I am so excited for her to come to Nick and be like, feelings? Like, I am so excited for, like, not just Imogen to go on this journey, but for, like, the ways in which that this can, like, build Imogen and Nick's friendship even further. Mm-hmm. I am so excited.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Everything's fine. Well, that just about wraps us up for today. Right now, we're not quite bi-weekly. We are working on it, but this is a podcast by two bisexuals, and we will be back soon with our season 2 wrap-up.
If you want to follow us online, we are at Why Are We Cast on all platforms, and if you like this, please consider rating and reviewing us. I love to read them.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.